There you go. Let me get my shirt in there.
Yep, there you go. Good. All right. Welcome to this edition of More Than You Asked For podcast. We're in for a treat today. We have RJ Voss, Ames, boys and girls golf coach and middle school PE teacher. Just a couple things before we get started. I do want to apologize about last week's episode. Some reason the video and everything worked fine, but there was no audio to it. So sorry for those of you that did tune in. But we are back this week with a special guest. Anybody that knows RJ, he is a special cat, and I could almost just give him two topics and he would take up the whole hour to talk it, and that would be fine too. But again, I want to thank RJ for joining me. I want to thank him too. He is a listener. He does listen to our podcast pretty regularly, and he always gets me things. And he says he wants to be on. And being teachers, we are doing this at 8:30 in the morning on a Tuesday in the summer, so that's perfect. First, thanks RJ for joining us, and then just give everybody a little bit of background. Where you're from, how long you've been in Ames, which is a long time. We were just talking to you and your wife about that before we started. And just a little background on you and things like that, so our audience can get to know you a little bit.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. I know I bother you a lot about it. I generally was just joking about coming on here. I thought it'd be funny, but I live in Ames, and I've got my family. Brietta is my wife. We just celebrated our 23rd year of marriage this last week. So that was exciting. And I have a son whose name is Jay, and he is a sophomore or junior now at DMAC in criminology. So he's going into the law force at some point, we believe. He went to Ames for till his sophomore year, played golf for me for his freshman and sophomore year, and then he went to Ballard his junior and senior year and graduated from Ballard. My daughter is Avery, and she is going to be a junior this fall at Ames High, and she is looking into going to nursing and plays 4 sports at Ames High: volleyball, bowling, plays golf for me, and right now she's in her softball season. So I spend a lot of time at the softball diamond in the summer right now, and if I'm not there, I'm usually on the golf course or working around the house. We have a couple dogs, a couple Weimaraners. You probably hear them barking in the podcast here if anyone comes by on the street. So, and they are pointers. One of my hobbies is hunting pheasants, and we hunt a lot. So they're Millie and Minna. I don't know. I got this lovely board back here that's got all their names of family and everyone behind me. But as far as a little bit about me, I was born in Fort Dodge, and my dad was a teacher there. We moved to Carroll when I was 4 or 5, I believe. I was in Carroll till I was a freshman, and we had a cabin on Black Hawk Lake in Lakeview. And my mother said, we are not taking care of 2 houses. So we tore the cabin down, built a house on the east side of the lake, and moved there. So I actually went to high school started out Lakeview, Auburn, then it was Wall Lake View, Auburn, and now I think it's East Sac County. So I graduated from there in 92, went to school at Minnesota at Mankato State, tried to play a little golf up there, joined the Iowa National Guard during right after my freshman year of college, and was in the Iowa National Guard for 7 or 8 years, and got my first job in Ames in 1997, I believe. Principal that was down here at the middle school was from Carroll, and I'd already taken a job in Northwest Iowa, and he called and said, hey, we got a PE job down here if you're interested, and paid a little bit more and had a little more opportunity. So I ended up coming here and was in elementary school for my first 2 years, bouncing around, and didn't like that. Our elementary PE program, we were in a little closet for an office, and had to travel schools, and our gyms were also the cafeteria and all that. So it was I was looking more for middle school, high school, but starting out, I got there. So then actually, they needed a special ed teacher for BD level 3, and coming from Minnesota, I had adapted PE minor, so I had more special ed credits than most special ed teachers in Iowa. So I did that for 2 years. That was very interesting. I was the only male in the building, and back then you had to you were restraining kids a lot, so I got to experience that for a couple of years, and I was always looking to get back into PE, obviously. So Judge Johnson, who was our AD here for many years, when he got that job, I rolled into his middle school PE job and been there ever since. I've coached, gosh, I don't know. I coached track for years at the middle school. Actually coached gymnastics, which was crazy back then. But the head coach was a PE teacher with me, and she's like, "Oh, I just need someone to spot." So I learned a little bit about gymnastics. I was Bella Corolla Voss. And
so speaking of that, I'm going to interrupt here.
Yep.
RJ was at Ames Middle School when I was going to Iowa State, and I went and watched him, and that was what you were doing at the time in your classes. So you had the beams, and you had it all there. Do you still have that?
Anymore. We had injuries and liability problems. It was not good. The mats and stuff we were using, I think someone came in and said, "You guys are," after a girl broke her arm or something in another class. It was another teacher's class. That stuff all went away, and we no longer have any of that. But that was an interesting experience. I will say I didn't know anything about gymnastics, so I got to do that. And then I started my second year. Well, they hired I always wanted to coach golf. That was one of the reasons I wanted to be a teacher. And when I first got here, the boys golf coach has just retired, and they had hired someone else. And I was like, "Oh man, golf coaches seem to stick around for a long time. I'm like, I'll never get a job. I'll never be a head coach." And ended up he was only around a couple of years and got hired out Broadmoor in Colorado. So that job opened up in '99. And I interviewed for the job. I really didn't think I was going to get it. I'm like, I was young. I didn't know much about the coaching process at a big school like Ames. And I got hired in '99. So that's when I took over the boys. So I think this is going to be my 26th or 27th season coming up this fall. And then I started, I was just the assistant girls coach with Bob Heiberger, who was the only other Ames High girls coach in Ames High history. He coached for 40 years and helped him. He was starting to have some health issues. So I took over for a season, maybe a season and a half while he couldn't be there. And he finally gave it up after 2010. And I started head coach then. So I think this was my 15th season as a girls coach. But I was assistant for, 7 or 8 years before that. And that was a pretty exciting time. In 2009 and 10, we won the state championship for girls over at Marshalltown in 9. And we won by quite a bit there and had state medalists on my team, Katie Purcell. And then in 10, we were at Otter Creek and we won. She was medalist again, but we won by 1 stroke. And I think Waukee was right behind us, and Marty Sullivan.
Was Marty there? Yep.
He's like,
before my time.
You guys, you got us by 1 stroke that year. And I'm like, so he was, after this season, he's like, another 1 stroke victory against a Waukee team. And I'm like, yeah, trust me, I had flashbacks about both because I was like, this is coming down to the wire. But so been here at Ames and been teaching 7th and 8th grade PE at the old middle school, and then now the newer building that's not new anymore, but they still call it the new middle school for some reason. It's 20 years old now. And I coach 7th grade boys and girls basketball in the after golf's over. So before Christmas, it's 7th grade girls, and then after winter break, then it's 7th grade boys basketball. So 4 sports. In the summer, I work at What You Smoking in Luther.
Yeah. That's a great place. If anybody's ever not been there, they need to get there. It's a hidden gem out in the middle of nowhere, but it's good.
It's a busy place. I don't know how they do it. My wife Brietta works there also. She's been working there a couple of years. My son works there also. So it's the three of us. I looked into working there last summer just because my wife was always at work, and I'm like, if I'm going to have a job, I might as well work, with her. And I mentioned something to them, and they're like, "Oh, we need a bartender out at the grain bin outside. We think you'd like to do that." So I bartended in college and after school for many years in Carroll, and took that job. And so on the weekends, I'm usually there on Saturdays and Sundays. Sometimes on Friday nights. We're only open out there during the weekends, but I worked there all the way until last fall for all Iowa State games and stuff like that. And if you haven't been there, it's worth your time to travel there. It can be very busy, but food's great. Atmosphere is awesome. It's a very cool venue, very neat place. So if you're traveling over the Boone area or Ames, we have a lot of people that come from all over just to eat there. So I get to meet a lot of people when I'm working from all over, and that's kind of fun because I like to talk to people and
I'd say you're a perfect guy for that job.
It's a good time. So got that going on, and then I run a business called Voss Grill and Chill. I've been doing that for about 20 years. I sell Traeger wood pellet grills, and have a shop set up down at Ames Outdoor Supply on East Lincoln Way, right across from the tip, or right next to the tip top. So if you're looking for a grill, I can hook you up. I try to sell them for the best prices in Iowa and give good service, and they're a very good product too. So that's a little bit about me and where I've been and how I've ended up sitting here in Ames. I think I've got 4 years before I can retire, and I don't know if I'll go or not. It depends where my kids are at or what they're doing. Middle school is a different. I don't know. It's something.
I've done it and I left it. So
it's something, that's for sure. But a lot of good kids. I like coaching that level. They like to learn, and it's a different experience every day. You never know what's going to happen. That is for sure.
Yep. And that's what, I did the middle school there at Ottumwa Middle School, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade in my, 4 or 5 years there. And then I did go back to the elementary. So I do 1 through 5 right now. And I've got a brand new school. And I know you talk about like the closets and cafeteria. I've been around long enough that we got a brand new school and we got an office, and it's not the cafeteria. So my elementary job is better than some that do have to share in cafeteria, but I've been there, done that. We all start out that way, and you travel buildings and stuff like that. But once you get established a little bit, those jobs are pretty good. We talked about, you've been there a long time. I student taught in Ames, not at the middle school, but with Kathy Gunlock there at Cape Mitchell, where your wife works. She still work there or not?
Yep. She's been there the longest, but she's not the oldest. And what is it? 23 years she's been there, and she's second grade now. When she first started, she started in Boone for a couple of years doing 4th grade, got hired at Cape Mitchell, and was doing 1st and 2nd grade, and that was combined.
Yep.
And then they changed that, and her and her coworker that were together went to 2nd grade, and they have a good time together. And I hear some great stories from 2nd grade.
Oh yeah, I'm sure you do.
I don't know how she does it. There's no way I could. But I get people say the same thing about me, and I'm like, that elementary was not my bag. That is for sure.
And that's what makes it great. Everybody finds their sweet spot as a teacher, and that is the really good thing about being like an Ames or a Ottumwa or one of the other bigger schools, is you can move jobs to figure out where you're best suited without leaving the district and leaving your job and starting over. I found that, I've been at 3 different elementaries, the middle school, actually now my 4th one, because we just opened a new one. But yeah, just been able to move around a little bit and not do the same job for, 25 years, unless you want to, without, going to a new school district and learning how they do things and everything.
Yeah, now all the elementaries and Ames have all been rebuilt and have their own gyms, and I mean they're nice now. It's a whole different deal than when
Yep.
I tell people what it was like when I first started, and they're like, "No way!" I literally was in a 10 by 10 closet with a desk and all of the equipment all jammed in there, and you had to move everything out so they could have lunch. And then when lunch was over, you had to put all the tables up, sweep up milk and food. I mean, you were a janitor. You just did whatever you could to survive, and you had classes coming in every 25 or 30 minutes nonstop. And if you could find time to go to the bathroom, that was a good day.
Yeah, that's what I still remember. Kathy on our computer, a little thing next to her, had each daily schedule because it was not the same every Monday or Tuesday. It wasn't an everyday thing. It was I mean, she was an unbelievable teacher, did a great job, but just the schedule was so unique that she couldn't remember it each day. So she had to have it on a little thing right next to her computer and look at it every morning. Like you said, you were just as much a janitor as you were a PE teacher.
I mean, I was in 3 different buildings my first 2 years, bouncing around to Wilson Beardshire, which isn't around anymore.
Yep.
I was at Edwards, and then I was out at the middle school also, doing some. I was like I don't even know what it was called back then, but they filled me, so I was full time. So I bounced around 3 buildings because the elementary PE job that we had was like 0.7.
Right.
And that's why, I mean, it was kind of a revolving door. People would take that job for a year or 2 and then move on to another school for a full-time job. And that's one of the reasons I went to that special ed job. I'm like, I'd really like to be in a building all day long and not the same. And Tim Taylor, who was our HR guy back then and then was superintendent, he's a big golfer. He came to me and he's like, "Hey, we really need you." And my dad was a special ed administrator in Carroll, and he's like, "Hey, it'd be great if you could, help him out." And so they both talked me into that, and that was an experience I'll never forget. I taught math 1st through 5th grade with level 3 BD kids, and I had like 5 boys in my class, and that was it. And it was an easy job for me being a male there, just because a lot of those kids did not have a father at home, and it was. When I was at that building, I met my wife. She was student teaching there. So if I wouldn't have taken that job, I probably wouldn't have met her either. So it all worked out. She was student teaching for Karen Hoiberg. So Karen Hoiberg always thinks that, she always sends us something. "Hey, I set you guys up. I was the matchmaker." Yep. So she gets a kick out of that. And it was, then I moved on and the evolution of when I first started PE, we were team teaching. We were in the old middle school. We had 1 gym. We had 7th and 8th graders. I mean, we had 65 kids in a class, trying to move them around all different places. I mean, we were pretty creative. We had a balcony and a wrestling room, and we used the cafeteria sometimes when that was open. I mean, it's not like it is today where, we have a couple gyms and locker rooms and everything is, it's like it should be again, I guess, more than how it was back then when you just made do. But pretty exciting.
Yeah, make and do is just, and as a PE teacher, and especially, absolutely, that's what we do as PE teachers. We just make it work. Our gyms get used for things, and sometimes ahead of times, and all of a sudden, at 7:30 in the morning or 7:45 when you show up, the principal comes, "Hey, we got to do this in the gym today. Can you go to the classroom or go out?" You hope the weather's good and you can go outside or
Absolutely.
whatever. But that's part of the fun of it and everything. And then now I know you went to school in Minnesota. I know you talked about hunting as your hobbies, but you also fish and then you snowmobile. Those kind of your 3 big things that you do.
Yep. In the fall, on the weekends when I'm not working, I'm out with the dogs. And I just hunt south of Ames. Big pheasant hunter. Dogs are pretty good. Take my son with me. I think we shot 35 birds this last year, and that's usually about where we're at in the 30s somewhere. I've got some pretty good hunting around here. But I just enjoy seeing the dogs get out and work more than anything else. I don't care, what we shoot. It's more about them. And we've had 5 Weimers since we were married. So the first dog we bought when we got married was a Weimer. We had one. When she went, said we weren't going to get one for a while. I caved right away and came home with a puppy. And then we adopted a rescue dog. So we had 2. When those were gone, I was like, maybe we, don't need to have a dog. We're never home. Well, I went and got another one, and then we adopted another now. So we've rescued 2. We've bought 3. They live with us. They sleep with us. They're, if you know anything about Weimaraners, they're very Velcro-y dogs. So they're pretty good. I fish a lot on the river over by Boone. Whenever I can get over there, I'm a big walleye fisherman, and then I chase muskie a little bit now and then. I more collect muskie lures that are handmade by guys that I know more than anything. I think they're works of art, and my wife's not in here now. I don't even want to know how many dollars worth of muskie lures I have that I just admire. I don't even fish with because they're not cheap. So we used to go to Lake Mille Lacs before the kids started playing baseball and softball. We'd stay up there for a month in the summer. So I got to fish from one of the best lakes in Minnesota for a month, and that was fantastic. I mean, you could go out and catch, 100 fish a day, and fish average over 20 inches. You catch fish anywhere from 26 to 30 inches out there quite often. And then I started kind of getting into the muskie thing up there, and caught my first muskie on the 4th of July a few years ago. It was just short of 50 inches, and that was pretty exciting. So then I started fishing a little bit more around here, but we have a boat, and I've been going over to Hickory Grove a little bit this year. They redid that whole entire lake, and it's pretty good. It's full of walleyes and crappie, and I ice fish a little bit in the winter when I have time. But my number one passion is snowmobiling, and we've been going as a family for, I don't know, since the kids were. When Jay was 3, I got him his first snowmobile, and he's been riding since 3. My daughter started riding when she was, she was a baby almost. I just hold on to her, and she'd fall asleep on the snowmobile. But we spent a lot of time up in the UP of Michigan. We go up there a lot. We usually go up over winter break and spring break. Started going out to Wyoming the last few years, and this year went out on a trip to Union Pass, which I hadn't been there. It's about 14 and a half hours away, and it was the coolest place I've ever been. And I plan on going back there now whenever I can. It's beautiful. There's elk and moose and all kinds of different animals to see, and trails and everything are really good. I'm starting to get up there in age, so I have 2 other guys that are younger than, me and one of my best friends. We're both the same age. We went to Mankato together and ran the intramural program up there, and connected with him. So we go with his son and another guy. So whenever we get stuck, they dig us out.
So they can pull you out. Yep.
They're like, you just stay on your sled. We'll get you out of the snow, you old man. And I'm like, oh, thank you, because I'm not digging out. I'm 19 feet of snow, and I'm at the bottom of it. But we have, what do we have? 5 snowmobiles, and we try to go whenever we can. Ride around here on the river when it's good, up Boone, up to Lehigh in that area, and it's just something that we really enjoy as a family. My kids love it, and it's something that I wish I could do more often. We've talked about moving when we retire, and I'm like, maybe we should move out west, and you basically can get to about all 4 seasons within 2.5 hour drive or 3 hour drive, right. And maybe head out that way instead of looking at flat cornfields. We'll look at the mountains for our retirement, but we'll see. Who knows what's going to happen? I'm a big Skidoo guy. That's what I ride, and a lot of my other buddies are Polaris guys, and we rib each other back and forth about what we ride. But it's something that worst part about teaching is it's hard to get away in the winter, and coaching basketball, I've got to take weekends off, right, to try to travel, because everywhere we go, it's 9+ hours to get there usually to ride. And if you're gonna ride snowmobiles and you live in Iowa, you got to chase snow. So it's something that I try to do whenever I can, and I love it. It's certainly what I look forward to. I'm a winter guy. I always have been. I like it cold. This heat's killing me, man. I played golf all this last week in the heat, and
it's been.
I can always put more clothing on in the winter. In the summer, I can only take off so much. So it's my love. And
I'm a little way. And it's hobbies are good. And you know this, your kids are a little bit older than mine, but my son's 12 right now. So every weekend we're playing in Des Moines or somewhere playing baseball. He does soccer. He does basketball. He plays golf. I mean, so it's just one of those right now. It's all about the kids. And my daughter's going to be a senior. So, she doesn't do as many activities, but she's working. And then actually I just went to Chicago on last Thursday to watch a Stray Kids, which is K-pop. I don't even know. I don't even know.
I don't know what you're talking about.
It really feel it was fun. I don't know any of the music, but it was just. Well, I don't either. I mean, I even went and saw them, but it was one of her Christmas presents, and she loved it, and it's one of her things she likes. And she was talking to the people around us all about things that I had no idea even existed. But that's what's neat about kids, and we see that with the students that we have too. Everybody has different interests, and they'll come up and tell you, "Hey, I went and did this today, or this weekend, or I'm going to go do this with grandma and grandpa, or mom and dad, or whoever." That's what makes the world go around. Everybody has different interests and everything else like that.
Absolutely, and we where you're at right now, I've been there, and I know how busy it is. It's a crazy time. It's hard to get anything done at home or around the house or anywhere else. So, every weekend you're traveling, and during the week you're just trying to make ends meet. So keep it up, man.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about the state title this year. You had a few girls that have been on the varsity team for 4 years, been close, thought you had chances before. This year kind of got down pretty good, but then made one heck of a comeback. And then, I know her dad really well. Emerson Modal makes a putt to win it for you. Senior leader, had been on the team forever. Her dad's a video guy at Iowa State that has been there since McCarney came. So he is Iowa State football as much as you can. And that's when I got to know him, and I still talk to him at the meets that we're with you at, or I see him at Iowa State things and everything.
Yeah, it was one heck of a season. I have four seniors, and all four of them are going to continue on to play or go into the golf. Emerson's going to go to Lincoln and go into the PGA program. So she's going to be a teaching pro, and I think that'll fit her very well. I think she'll do a great job there, and I think it's a great choice for her. But this season, it was really hard for these girls to actually realize how good they were. To be ranked number one in the entire state of Iowa, all classes, is pretty impressive. And it was really hard to get them to buy in and have some swagger and confidence throughout the season. So that was one of my big pushes. We get to the state tournament over at Pleasant Valley, and if you haven't been there, we went over in April, early April, like the 7th, and it was blowing 30 miles an hour, and it was like 38 degrees, and it was freezing cold. And I had no idea what it was like. And we get over there, there's sand everywhere. There's water everywhere. The greens are really funky. They're like clover leaves, and they all kind of drain or move to the middle of the green. And they're like, wow, this is unlike any place we've ever played before. So as a season, we got into the season. We played pretty well to start, and we had a couple. We lost we lost to Marshalltown once at Willow Creek, and Henson from Marshalltown, who was a really good player. She shot 7 under. She had it to 8 under going into her last hole, and I think her sister Amber, who plays at Drake, had shot 7 under there also. She was thinking about beating her with 8 under. He hit it in the trees, tried to punch out, hit the trees again, got it in the rough, and got up and down from there and made bogey. They beat us by 2, and the girls are like, oh gosh, they're really good. And I said, well, when you have 7 under, that's a lot of strokes to make up. I think they beat us by 2 there. so that kind of motivated us to work a little bit harder. My group of girls, I don't think there's, they work so hard. They're at Vanker all the time, year round. They just put in the time the last 4 years to get better. And, we play some really hard golf courses for our schedule. I mean, we're at Vanker 4.9s of our average. We play Des Moines Golf. We play Otter Creek. We play Elmwood over in Marshalltown. We play Fort Dodge Country Club. And our schedule is legit. And for them to be ranked and have the scoring average that low with the golf courses that we play, it really says something. When we played Des Moines Golf this year, we played the South course. My girls have all played the North. We hadn't played the South, and we got beat by Northwest there by 4. They had 2 girls that had never broke 80. I think one's low score was 80, one was 82, and they shot 74, 76. So they played really, really well. We played well, I think, and they got us by, I think, 4. Then we were supposed to be at Fort Dodge that Friday to play and see Northwest again, which my girls were really wanting to see them again before the state tournament. And we got they canceled the meet for wind. It was blowing like 50 miles an hour. Thursday, a tree got blown down, and they were worried about safety of the girls. So we lost our last meet of the season. We went over and we played over at PV twice. And the first day, I'm looking at scores, and I'm watching Waukee Northwest just run away with this thing. I mean, they were like 1 under as a team after 12 or 13 holes still. And then the last 6 holes, they just fell apart. And I mean, I thought we were going to be down 20 after day 1, and to get it back to within 9 strokes, I told them that's very doable. I told them if we go over there and we can shoot around our average or a little better than our average for 2 days, we should be able to win. And we had a pretty good conversation on after the first day that night about what we needed to do the next day. And I said, we don't need to go out and go crazy. We just need to go out and play our game. I didn't think Northwest could come back and shoot, what they did day 1. And, I think we cut the lead in half after 9. And then we got up. We were up 7 or 8 strokes at one point. And I think we had 2 holes left with the live scoring, and we were up 7. And I'm already getting texts from people going, "Hey, congratulations." I'm like, "Hey, this isn't over yet." And I kept thinking back, in 2006, with my boys team, I had Nick McDermott, Doug McDermott, and a really good group of guys. And we were up 7 with 2 holes to play. We lost by 1 stroke to Valley. And it was pretty funny after this state meet was over, I get a text from Doug McDermott, and he goes, "You'd have 2 state titles as a head coach if my brother wouldn't have doubled his last hole." Well, then Nick gets in on this, and they're going back and forth. And, Nick rides Doug because Doug finished dead last at the state tournament. He was the worst score of every team there. So they go back and forth. And so I've got deja vu here. I'm just going, this isn't happening. This can happen again. And then, we came in 17 and 18, and 18 was playing into the wind. There's a trap in front. You got to lay up or you got to go for it. If you go for it, water comes into play. And then the green the pin was tucked left. There was a trap right in front of it. Very difficult hole. If you laid up, you still had 155, and you had to hit it probably 170 to carry everything to get it to the green and take the trap and water out of play. And that's not a real good distance for my girls hitting that club. And we ended up going, I think we were 7 over as a team on 18. And one of our scores got entered incorrectly. So when Emerson steps up to 18, and she has no idea where we're at because she does not look at scores, and I didn't tell her. I thought we had a 2-stroke lead. And all of a sudden she's on the tee. She hits it and it drops to 1. Well, they corrected a score. And I'm like, we have a 1-stroke lead. The PV girl hits driver right at perfect shot. She is laying 50 yards from the green. And I'm like, wow, she has a chance to make birdie here. Emerson lays up and she gets a terrible lie in the rough. She's like, I don't think I can hit this shot. And I'm like, no, you're fine. Just, we got to hit something about 160. She's like, well, I'm just going to hit my 7-iron so I can get out of this grass. She does. It bounces, hits the hard pan, rolls right into the trap, right in front of the pin, which is almost impossible shot to get up and down from there. And, like I said, I didn't know where we were at yet. She gets up there and she's got probably 30 feet of sand in front of her. And then there's some rough, and then it drops down to a pin that kind of pins on a hump, and it goes left and right. And she's like, I can't hit the shot. And I'm like, all you got to do is get out of the trap. If you get it out of the sand, it's going to roll down. It'll be by the pin. You'll be fine. She was shaking.
As you would. I mean, she knows what's at stake. She may not know exactly, but she knows what's at stake.
Yep. And she's the last group. So there's, 500 people standing behind the green. And she gets up there, and no one took video of that shot, which I would love to see, because it was unbelievable. She hits it. It trickles into the rough, catches the fringe, rolls down, and comes to rest about 5 feet left of the pin. And every single girl that had that putt missed that putt right by 6 inches because it just fell off to the right. And, she's on the green, so you can't say anything to her. The PV girl kind of chunks her wedge in there, so she's got like a 65-foot putt, and it's a very difficult putt. So I didn't know what was going to happen. She hits it to about 6 feet. She was actually out, and I don't know why Emerson putted first, but she got up there. And at this point in time, all I know is that if she makes the putt, we win. If she misses it, we tie. I didn't know if she misses that putt, we take third place. So that putt was for winning it or third, because we had a 3-way tie, and it would have went to our fifth score, and we had the third worst fifth score. So she lines it up, and I'm kind of behind her, and I'm like, gosh, I just don't know if she's playing this enough. Well, she hits it firm enough. It just starts sneaking right and grabs the side of the hole and falls in. And Drew, my assistant, he looks at me and charges at me and jumps up. I grab him. We're jumping up and down, going crazy. And Emerson turns around and looks at us. She goes, did we win? And I'm like, I probably can't say what I said out loud, but yeah, I said we won. And that was the best 4 I've ever seen. And, like I said, it ended up being a deal where if she misses that putt, we might still be at that golf course on the green. You're picking us up with a spatula, because it would just have been devastating to miss that putt or have that chance to win. And, Dave Combs at Northwest, I ran into him at State Co-Ed over at Boone, and he goes, hey, how you doing? I go, well, I haven't really slept yet. I said, I keep waking up to Emerson missing that putt. And he goes, funny you say that. He goes, I have that same nightmare every night of her making that putt. And we both laughed at it. But, for them to come back and I've got 4 girls that can really get it around. Macy Button, who moved here from Spirit Lake 2 years ago. Without her, we have no chance at winning a state title. We were just missing one piece, and she's going to go to Morningside. She is going to be a really good player. She hits it a long ways. Her coach up there is super excited about getting her. They're going to be really good. She's a pilot, and they have an aviation program that they just started up there. That's all brand new hangar and all this. So she's excited to go there. And Steve Smith came to me at the TCI showcase, and he goes, why didn't you tell me about this Macy Button girl? I go, she has no interest in playing for you, Steve. She has to go with her aviation program. He's like, oh, man. But
yeah, turn down Drake to go to Morningside. You don't think of that, but that's a great decision by her. She knows what she wants to do. You got to go find the program that works for her.
Yep. She is very with it. She has a plan, a program. Parents are very supportive. Elizabeth Duncan played really, really well at state tournament again this year. She kind of struggled to start the year and just wasn't playing as well as she could. And she got it to going at the end. And then I've got Estelle Wong and Jessie Lohman are my 4 and 5. And they kind of struggled a little bit on the second day. Zoe Johnson is a freshman who really didn't see a whole lot of me this year. I'm like, you're going to get experience. My daughter had hip surgery in January. on her labrum. So she played varsity a little bit last year, and this year she was still recovering and didn't get a play, or just isn't the same. So she played the second day. So I got a state championship. My daughter got to play, got her name called off, and got to play there. And that was very special to me. I mean, my wife goes, when I turn 50, I don't cry. When I turn 50, I get pretty emotional at our banquet and different things. And she goes, we've been married 20 some years and I've never seen you cry. And she goes, I've seen you cry more times this last year than I've ever seen anyone cry. And I go, anytime I talk about the state championship, it's something that's very special to me. I mean, it's something I really tried to get done in my coaching career, and being a part of it 9 and 10 as assistant isn't the same as being the head coach, but
right.
That feeling, and I shared that with our girls a lot this year. I'm like, the feeling of being a state champion and winning is like nothing in the world. You'll never forget that day the rest of your life. It is something that you will cherish. And very, very few people get the opportunity to be a state champion. And when you have you're hosting the trophy and you're getting the awards, and, people are like, what are you doing? I said, I'm just taking this all in. I just want to stand here. I want to watch. I want to see this. I want to make, this is something that there are people in programs, they win multiple state championships, and we're not that. Ames Golf is not that. This was a work in progress for 4 years. I think we went 9th, 6th, didn't play very well last year, and this year to not win it with the team that we had and the amount of time and work that they put in, it would have just been crushing. So it's been a month now almost, and I think about it. I see that putt. I see the scoreboards. Every day it's something that is on my mind, and it is it's a feeling like no other. I wish every coach and every player in the state would be able to have the experience and chance to win a state tournament and see what it feels like, because it's so special. And I couldn't be happier for these girls. They deserved it. They live at the golf course, and it was there's no words for the feelings that you have when you win one, and you win it like that, especially. I mean, we had some drama on our team all season, it seems like, and it wouldn't be a finish for Ames without drama at the end, and to finish like that is something special. So very cool, and like I said, I'm looking forward to boys season. It really re-energizes you as a coach, and seeing what you need to do and what you have to put in to get something like this out of your team. So
yeah, that's what in the real life. I'm the assistant boys coach. I kind of like what I'm the head girls and assistant boys. Kyle Kramer, great coach here, is our boys coach, and won a state title with Kale Leonard. Ottumwa, history of Ottumwa golf is really good, like as good as there is in the entire state. Now, we've had some individuals be really good lately. Our teams haven't been as good, but we've had some individuals really good. But just talking about the time and the effort, and the summer golf is so important. And then for girls, the off season, finding a winter place to play is so, important. And that's the one thing I've tried to do. And we've gotten better. You've seen us. We're better today than we were when I started, 6-7 years ago. And that is, we have access to Indian Hills, and they're one of the best golf programs in the country at the JUCO level. And they allow us to use their spot. And I know Ames has some spots, and other girls, go down to Des Moines for access and stuff for different things. But for the boys, this summer tour is so important for them to be ready to go on April 8th or August 8th, because the things that people don't understand, the first day of practice is also the first playing date. I mean, literally, you don't even have to practice or qualify. You can just show up and play. And that's on the boys to just show up and work and be at the golf course all year. And then the girls, obviously, in the wintertime have to do it on their own. Because, again, April 1st or March 27th, whatever day that first playing date is, you can't get on the course. There's many times your first time really on the course is a first meet.
Yeah, and that's usually in April. It's, Greg Dingle has task force at Vinker that goes year round, and that's been a huge help. I mean, here's the other thing. Gilbert is less than 5 miles away from Ames High, and we've got 2 state championship teams for girls, 3A and 4A, Gilbert and Ames. That speaks volumes to the golf programs here in Ames and the area to get 2 teams that close together, winning both classes is pretty spectacular. So he does a great job, and without him and his program and getting these girls to buy in, I wouldn't be on this podcast with this trophy today. And I owe him a ton. The amount of work that goes into getting to this level. I had 25 girls out this year, and
that's phenomenal. That was the one thing that I was disappointed this year. We had a little bit less of a team. I'd been 15 to 20, and we were at 10 this year, and that's a little less. And I think we're going to get back up next year. But and the one thing, I'm super excited. The Ottumwa Country Club did hire a club pro
nice.
For the first time in a long time. So we have a club pro. He's doing junior stuff along with Michael Wietrich. You remember Michael?
Yep.
As Indian Hills coach. He's going to end up passing it off because he's done it the last few years, but he helps as much as he can, and he's doing a high school program, everything. So the future is getting better in Ottumwa. And again, it's the golf community, and Ottumwa's a golf town. I mean, we have 2 courses. They're both busy. The country club is coming back a little bit. There's more members there, and then at Cedar Creek, it's always busy. And Ames has several courses, and then once you did even outskirts of Ames or just right around, there's courses around. So there's lots of golf opportunities in Ottumwa and Ames. And as you said, both of our schools, we don't win state titles regularly. It's not Waukee or Northwest or PV. I don't know what's going on over there at PV right now, but they win in everything. They're in the state tournament. It doesn't matter what sport it is, boys or girls, they are right there.
It's unreal. The program that school just manufactures trophies,
right.
And they are legit. And that was the other thing. Going in Northwest, they'll be back next year. They'll have a really good team. PV will be really good again. I mean, I don't see either one of them teams falling off. They'll be right back at it again. One of the I had 25 girls at practice this year, and I got a bunch of new girls, and they have no idea what golf is about. And I said, okay, I want you 4 seniors. Give me a rundown of what you do per week, month, for the year to get to where you are. And they're saying about, their routines of practice, weights, everything they're doing for golf only. And these freshmen and sophomores that are just their mouths open and they're like, what? I go, you guys have, I said, we have some pretty good players on this golf team that are never going to see varsity level. And you need to understand you are around, now a state championship team.
Right.
But here is what goes into getting to this point. And these girls are looking at me and looking at each other like, are you kidding me? I'm like, yeah, that's how much time, effort it takes to get to where these girls are. And if you want to continue, if we want to win and get to this, stay at this level, this is the kind of commitment you're looking at. And they're just in awe. And quite honestly, I'm in awe because that's all they do is golf, and they are committed to it. They're there before school, they're there after school, they're after, if they run cross country in the fall, after cross country practice, where they at? They're on the range. And anytime they can get there, they're putting in the time, and that's what pays off. But it is a huge commitment. Golf's expensive. It's very, I don't know how busy it is in Ottumwa this year, but I've never seen Vinker as busy as I've seen it this year since before COVID or COVID. I couldn't even hardly find a place to park in the parking lot every night for practice. There's that much golf being played, and the range is just full all the time. So,
and that is a big range too. I mean, it's not small. I mean, it's the community / college range. And actually, I just saw that yesterday. Rocco Beck and Ben Bramer did a match at Vinker and stuff. So,
those
now
kids are out there a lot, and when they are, we can't even have practice because all my girls are going goo goo gaga. Look at this, Taman's out there with all the basketball team, and I'm waving at them. I had Taman in class, and they're like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm saying hi to Taman." I said, "You want him to come over here?" So I'll get them over, and they'll take a picture with the girls, and they're just like, "Oh my gosh!" And I'm like, "Oh my." Let's get back to practice, ladies. You guys need to keep moving, but they stopped out. We had a team dinner, and they were out there, and they came and had some food with us, and they all got a picture together, and they were pretty psyched about that. But Taman's an all right golfer. I always asked those guys, I'm like, why didn't you guys play golf? Because Sam Burton had played for me, and they're all really good friends, and Sam basically got them out there playing just because he was out there all the time. And I'm like, hey, you could play golf in the fall. You don't have to play football.
I say Taman was a good football player till he hurt his knee there. Taman had it. He could have played college football too. That's what people don't understand when you're a Division I athlete. And basketball was his thing. Now I don't know if he was a Division I football player, but he'd have been a high Division II, and probably maybe a MAC Division I football player. He was when he was young. At quarterback, he could run and he could play. Yeah, he could play.
Absolutely.
Well, thanks a lot. Here my last question is: so, how much sports do you watch? What's your favorite? Who are your favorite teams? And then, like, if you had I guess it doesn't matter, but Sunday afternoon free, any sport could be on TV. What do you watch?
Golf.
Yeah, that's Jim Nance at the Masters.
So I'm a Cubs fan, and when they're playing, I watch the Cubs, and they got a pretty good team this year and doing all right finally again. We'll see how they hold up after the All-Star break, but then I'm a Cowboys fan. I've been a Cowboys fan since I was 3, and so I've got to endure that.
Yeah, I feel sorry for you. Hopefully, if you ever listen to us, me and Trevor make fun of the Cowboys a lot.
This year's the year, baby. It's every
it's been that way for 35 years.
If they can stay healthy, I think they're going to be better than what people think this year. But the NFL is so much about injuries and one lucky play, or it just has to go your way. It never goes their way, and it's all self-inflicted because it's Dallas. But so I endured Dallas during the NFL season. I watch a lot of the women's basketball now. I'll watch about any of the games that are on. I just think it's pretty good basketball, and I like watching Caitlin Clark. I'm an Iowa fan. I live in Ames. I root for both, but I've been an Iowa fan since I was little, and I go to Iowa State stuff. But when they play each other, I'm rooting for the Hawks. And other than that, any sports that's on is basically what I'm watching. I don't watch much else when I have the TV on, but it's a little bit everything. As long as it's a good game, I don't care. And I'm not a betting guy. I don't bet on sports. I don't have the greatest memory when it comes to all the players and stats and all that. I just kind of watch it and enjoy it when I have it on. I guess the only other thing before we go I wanted to bring up was the Iowa High School Golf Coach Association. I serve as president for that, and I try to get as many teams throughout the state to be members. I think we just posted. We gave away 7 $500 scholarships to boys and girls golfers in the state, and that is I got 7 applications.
So everybody that applied.
If you applied, you got one. Last year, I think I only had 4 or 5. Okay. So that's something we're trying to grow a little bit. People just, I don't know what it is. It's only $500, but $500 is a lot more than nothing. And it is an opportunity there. We do the rankings. We do, first team, second team, all state, all tournament teams. We have a banquet over in the last 2 years have been over in Iowa City during the golf coaches clinic. where we have coaches of the year, Hall of Fame players, and inductals into the Iowa Hall of Fame for golf. And it's a really good thing to be a part of if you're a coach in Iowa, whether you're boys or girls. So that's my plug for the Iowa High School Golf Association. Paul Niedermeyer is the vice president. He is the man. He's retired. He does everything. I owe him a lot. He's like, oh, I don't have anything better to do. So he's the one that sends all the emails out and takes the applications and does all those things. So we have a board, about 10 or 12 people from across the state that we just kind of run some things through them, but more or less Paul and I kind of take care of most of the things. Eric Perry's another guy, was ex-president from Clear Lake that has some involvement with it. But it's something that we try to do, to grow the game of golf in Iowa and recognize. We have all academic awards too. So Rich Gard does that out of Decorah. So it's just another way to recognize your golfers in the state of Iowa for doing great things. So if you don't know anything about that, get online, become a member, and it's something that I've done. I've been on the board since we started, and I think I've been president for about 10 years because no one else wants to do it. So
yeah, keep doing that. The one other thing with golf, the online app this year was a phenomenal thing. What can we do to get more schools to do it? That would be the one thing.
I think this year it's for some, it was the cost, which it's $100 a team a season. And,
Right.
My argument there is I go, hey, go to your AD and ask them how much they spent for huddle or how
Right.
much they spend for the things they spend on other sports. They said, it's $100 for boys, $100 for girls, $200 for the season. It's tremendous. It works great. The other thing, a lot of people this year, they were waiting to see how it went.
Yes.
And then for next year, they'll join and be a part of it. I think I live scored through Kodiak every meet we had, whether it was my meet or on the road, just because parents and grandparents and spectators and me as a coach, I want to see how my players are doing in real time. So I can see, if I got a girl cruising along that's, even par and just, no issues, I can let them be. If I see a girl that's taking a triple or a quad, I know I need to go over and get to them, find them on the golf course, and, get them turned back around. So having those scores live and real during time is great for everyone involved. My parents love it. Their family, their friends, they're sharing it with them. I'll get a text, hey, where's the scoring? Why don't we have a scoring link today?
That too. Yep.
And I'm like, well, they didn't want to do it. So like, I know of our conference meetup.
You set it up real quick.
I just go, hey, we're doing this, and I know you're not, but I'm going to set it up so we can have it. And that worked out great. So it doesn't take long. Once you figure it out, it's really easy. I mean, there's nothing to it. When I first got it and opened it up, I was like, whoa. I called Matt Evans and I go, hey, can you walk me through this a little bit?
Yep.
He goes, yeah, I'll send in the video out and you can watch it. And now I can navigate it. And I mean, like I can set up a meet in 15 minutes without a problem. And it works fantastic. So if you don't have Kodiak or you're got any questions about it, it is legit. It is for real. I would get it. I mean, you can have someone sponsor your membership.
Like you talked about golf being expensive. Your local golf course. You put up we did that. We did it. Our booster club essentially paid for ours. So I put the logo of our booster club and the link. So if they click on it, it takes them to that. And I know my friend Zach Trummel at Sigourney, he had the golf course sponsor it, so it clicked to Sigourney Golf and Country Club.
Absolutely.
And just $200 for most businesses or organization in your town. It's a no-brainer.
Yeah. Yep. And like I said, you get the advertisement, and a lot of people see it. I mean, and it's only going to get bigger and better. And
the customer service is second to none. You call, and we both have a relationship with Matt Evans, so we go right to him. Yep. But if you just do the Kodiak as well, it's really good as well.
And then he actually, so the rankings on Kodiak are probably the most legit rankings. So even kudos to Matt, because the meets that weren't scored on Kodiak that went through other venues, he took those scores, put them into Kodiak, so everything was actually up to date, and all scores for all meets were in for all the classes. So that guy gets after it. I mean,
he's unbelievable. When he was still teaching and coaching and doing that, I could only imagine how much time he spent on a computer.
His wife goes, I go, hey, I want to thank you, because they came down. We gave him the President's Award one year, and she goes, I go, what does he do besides this? She goes, nothing. That's his hobby. I mean, that's
right.
My snowmobiling is his spreadsheets. I mean, he just lives on them and loves doing it. And, like I said, he comes down to meets. If you want him to be there, he'll be there. And he does a fantastic job of promoting it and runs a great program. So Kodiak is the way to go, in my opinion.
Absolutely. I just, here in Southern Iowa, and some of those guys, they pull out that spreadsheet from 2001. And it was in 2001, it was phenomenal. Absolutely. But then you get a score at the end, or you get a score after 9. And when you're used to seeing it every hole, and like you said, you can look right there, hey, this girl's struggling or this girl's doing fine, and you can get to them faster. And some kids want to know.
Absolutely.
Like I know Emerson doesn't, and then Michaela, my number one, wanted no part of knowing it, and that's fine. Didn't want to keep score unless she had to. A couple of meets where I said, well, you're doing it because no one else knows it. But some of the girls really do like it and want to know, team-wise and individual-wise. And
boys, they're a lot different than the girls. They want to know all the time. They want to see where they're at. And from my experience, it's completely different. My girls, they don't care, don't want to know it. And you don't have to. You just put your scores, and you don't have to look at anything. But the boys that they were like, I want to know how, where we're at and how much we're down and how we're playing and da. And so, you get both sides of it. You don't have to look. And if you want to know, you can look it up. And I always look back, and I'll never know. But if Emerson knew that she had to make a par to win the state tournament on the last hole of the state meet, I don't know what would have happened. It probably would have been a different scenario, but we'll never know. It doesn't matter. And, greatest 4 I've ever seen. And she's hosting a trophy, and life is good in Ames.
Yeah. Well, thanks a lot, RJ. We're right at an hour. That's usually what I try to go to. Again, congrats. You've always helped me a lot in my, I think it's 7-8 years now I've been coaching. We do appreciate everything you do for Iowa high school golf. One other thing, Johnston and that new TCI tournament that they had, that kind of top, 50 boys, 50 girls, whatever they decided to do.
48 showcase.
Yep. That was a real good thing. And another thing just to promote high school golf.
Carson Haddle,
and he's doing stuff on Twitter and everything. It's
the amount of work that goes into doing something like that is unbelievable. Steve Smith, who coached at Johnson, and Carson was his assistant. Carson took over for Steve. Steve goes, dude, I don't think that guy sleeps. He goes, he is always just go. And about 10 years ago, I proposed doing this individual state championship at Vinker after the season was over.
Right.
I got very little traction from the state. I got very little interest from other coaches or people to help out. And I talked with him a lot about it, and he's like, I'm going to do it. And I'm like, good for you. And I go, if you need anything, I went down, I was a rules official. So I worked for him, but everything about it was great. The biggest, the only complaint I heard is TCI is
it's not good right now.
Difficult golf course to walk, to spectate. The college coaches that I talked to that were there, they're like, we can only, and so parents were complaining about, why aren't these coaches watching? Well, then the coaches are, and I'm asking the coaches, hey, well, we can only see one hole at a time, and there just isn't any areas where there's more than a hole where you can actually get around on the golf course to see other people. So I know it's going to be at TCI next year again for sure. He said it was a 2-year deal. I think the only feedback, and I shouldn't say it's not negative. I mean, it is what it is.
I'd say certain golf courses are just that way.
Maybe just having it at a different venue. And TCI is a cool golf course, great course. Number 9.
Could they get it to Hyperion? Maybe. I mean, that would be better. I mean, that's private, and yeah.
A lot of the college coaches brought up Otter Creek, just because basically by the clubhouse there you got 6 holes that you can sit and watch and see, and I like having it on a legit golf course. It's kind of nobody's home course,
right?
It's a great place, great course, but spectator wise, it's very difficult. So
and it's just walk. It's not built to walk. I mean, there's the newer courses. If the course was built in the last 30 years, it's not built to walk.
Right.
That's just not how they build golf courses anymore.
I spent half the day giving coaches rides up and down the hills because they're like, "Oh, I don't want to walk this." So, the Iowa women's coach and Steve Smith, the Drake women's coach, both got on my cart and like, "We don't really want to go down this big hill and back. I'll give you a ride." And so I got to talk to them a little bit. And the Iowa coach, she was over at Pleasant Valley, and she goes, "You're the Ames coach, right?" And I go, "Yeah." She goes, "Man, were you working your butt off those last 6 holes?" I said, "Yeah, I was losing my mind because it was a fight to the finish." And she goes, "Yeah, it was something." She goes, "What a finish for a state tournament." I said, "Yeah, we were on the right end of it, thank goodness."
Yeah.
So.
Nope, very good. Again,
thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Love it. I've been trying to tell people, I'm like, you got to subscribe to this. Morgan, you asked for. Like, what are you talking about? I said, this podcast is a great guy from Ottumwa, Oskaloosa, I guess, or whatever. He puts it together. And I said, I go, one day I hope to be on there. And I guess that day finally came.
Nope, that's what again, we can have you on again whenever you want to. Maybe we do it during the boys season, or maybe right after the boys season as well.
Anything to promote golf in the state of Iowa, I'm for. I just think that news coverage is very shaky on TV and even the paper and all that. It's just there's so much other stuff going on. Now that we have Twitter and Bound and all that, I think we could get more stuff on there and do a better job. There's that new Iowa Twitter account or whatever, or X account, whatever. Prep golf.
Iowa Preps, they do everything, and that is one thing I tell my girls. We have a great paper guy here in Ottumwa, Scott Jackson. He's got 5, 6, 7 schools, and if he can be there, he's there.
That's awesome.
He's not at our event. He is at another event. He's not sitting in the office just writing. And that's for all the sports and all the towns right around Ottumwa as well. Sometimes the girls are like, he's coming to talk to me again. I'm like, that's a good thing.
Yeah, that's great.
You guys are close enough to the Des Moines market that, the Register's not covering you, and the Ames paper's owned by the Register, same people. You won a state title and probably got less coverage than we did as a middle of the road 4A program. On an individual basis. Now, when you won the state title, I'm sure everybody came calling, but on a day-to-day basis, we get as good a coverage as anything.
That's great.
And we're very, very lucky. And some of it is we are down here in the middle of nowhere, and there's nothing else.
Well, that helped. When people see that stuff in the paper, it promotes golf, and it promotes. People want to be interested in it because when they're seeing it, hey, this is something cool, and maybe we should give it a go or get out there and play or whatever. And it is the support from the town itself and the community. If you don't have that, it's really hard to have a good golf program. And you guys have a lot of support there. I grew up in Carroll, and Carroll's a golf
same
town.
thing.
And, I mean, there's a reason they have numerous state championships. It's what they do, and they give it away, and they get it back from them when they get older. So
that's the thing is you got to give them some stuff when they're young, so when they're 25 and start their career and they live wherever, but you hope they stay around and they'll join that golf course or belong to that club or have their kids sign up for it. And it's the long game. You can't think of it in the short game.
Yep, absolutely.
All right. Thanks a lot, RJ. And we'll talk to you. Well, we'll probably see you in just over a month at a golf event.
We'll be there. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
You bet.